Hey guys, Brooke and Laura here today for Lawyering Outside the Lines, and it is finally June, if we're even keeping up with months now. So this month we are going to be talking about technology, specifically which technology tools can help you to better operate virtually and in a more efficient way. So, as attorneys, we have kind of had to adapt quickly in the current circumstances to deliver our services in a different way. I mean, by we, I mean you guys, we're already doing it, but that urgency may not have allowed you to kind of best vet the technology that would be best for your practice, or even really set up the best systems because it was done in such an abrupt and quick manner. So today we want to talk about what we think is the key to truly moving to a virtual practice, and that is utilizing a client portal. So first, I'm just going to kind of talk about why you should even consider adoption of technology tools for your practice. The first is ethical considerations. So there are a number of ethical considerations that support the adoption specifically of client portals by legal professionals. But two of these are confidentiality and technology competence. And so, we talk a lot about email versus client portals and surrounding ethical considerations of that. We're going to talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. But the first that I mentioned just now was confidentiality. So one of the often cited reasons for providing portals is protecting clients' confidentiality. So the ABA model rule of professional conduct 1.6c requires a lawyer to make reasonable efforts to prevent the inadvertent or unauthorized disclosure of or unauthorized access to information relating to the representation of a client. So many jurisdictions' ethics advisory opinions still provide the lawyer may communicate with a client via an encrypted email because of the increased number of email hacks and intrusions. Some ethics committees are actually revisiting whether lawyers should even be required to use encryption. So when emailing clients, so they're kind of moving toward looking at some of those confidentiality breaches and whether they should put something more stringent in place. So, rather than kind of wade through that uncertain ground, you can be really confident that you've taken reasonable steps to protect your client's information and confidentiality if you're using an appropriate client portal. And the second is technology competence. So, most attorneys, after examining the risk associated with insecure emails and also the benefits that are linked to using a client portal, would actually conclude that the use of unencrypted email for communication of privileged or confidential information is just not an acceptable option at all. So even though people agree on that, or we as a profession kind of agree on that, there was a survey conducted a few years back, and just over half of the attorneys responding to that noted that they send confidential or privileged information via email or one or more times a day. And we often ask people when we talk about client portals or technology, how many of you have a client portal? How many of you are emailing clients? And most people don't have a client portal. Most people are using email and emailing clients. And then we're like, how many of you guys are actually encrypting it? And then all the hands go down. So we could do better. So those are just a few of the reasons that we should consider using technology, specifically client portals.
The next thing we're going to talk about is why should you consider the adoption of client portal solutions in a little bit more detailed. So number one, with why consider it, is practical considerations increase efficiency. So let's talk about that in a little bit more detail. When a client portal is in place, a firm can more easily achieve the optimum number of billable hours for the client. Since the client portal assists in reducing interruptions of the attorney workflow from traditional communication channels like telephone calls, the attorney can focus on other activities that are actually revenue generating, billable hour, or we don't like the billable hour, but regardless, revenue generating activities instead of constantly being interrupted from the flow of your work by telephone calls and having to answer those things. So as a result, a client portal makes the client servicing process much more cost-effective and efficient. Some attorneys also are using email as a remote access tool, like Brooke mentioned earlier, and the 2016 ABA Legal Technology Survey noted that just over 30% of respondents to the survey indicated that they often or occasionally send work documents to their personal email. So that's even an extra level of not good when you're talking about trying to be secure and safe with the type of sharing that you're doing with those confidential documents and information. Certainly, accessing documents that have been reviewed by clients and returned through a client portal that is organized according to the matter the document relates, the documents that's related is more efficient than searching through an oversized email folder for a document that may or may not include comments from the client. So again, just improving your efficiency by having things in one place. Yes, they're more secure that way as well, but also you don't have to go hunt and peck for things that are all in one place in your client portal. Next thing we'll talk about is the client expectation and retention. Because of their experience, the clients with client and patient portals when interacting with other professionals like accountants, bankers, physicians, many clients have expectations regarding the use of technology and communicating with their service providers. Failure to act in accordance with these expectations can result in the client perceiving you as the attorney lacking any kind of technological competence. Such a perception may result in a client seeking other counsel in future matters. So just keep that in mind. They want to know that you are in the times of 2020, as opposed to doing things that are, that are too old school for the time that we're in now. Another thing, to be aware of is without discussing communication preferences, attorneys may be unaware of those client expectations and the perceptions that are created by actions contrary to those perceptions, like use of email versus the client portal that seems more secure because it is more secure. The 2016 ABA Legal Technology Survey notes that the 68% of the respondents to the survey say that they do not address preferred communication methods in fee agreements. We do that. We make our clients initial next to a paragraph in their fee agreement that says that the preferred method actually the only method of communication that we use is through their client portal. And while this doesn't necessarily mean that attorneys are not communicating at all, while it doesn't necessarily mean that attorneys are not communicating about those preferences, it does provide an indication that attorneys do not see communication tools and methods as priority issues affecting the client's assessments of legal representation that they are receiving, which, we talk about a lot. It's the what we think versus what they think, what we think they want. So we have to kind of get out of that mindset. The last thing I'll talk about with this, building a more efficient model for yourself and meeting your client where they are is superior. You're going to deliver superior client service if you're utilizing a client portal. Providing the organization of relevant client documents and information within a portal can really be a valuable client service aspect of your practice. In the case of a client, representative who needs to review matters, when you're traveling, when the file is not readily available, or, for a consumer client who's not used to retaining and organizing important paperwork, the fact that it's all in one place for the client, for yourself, really shows that you're providing a superior and, new age technological kind of client service experience. And that's big when you're talking about retention, getting good reviews, that kind of thing from your clients.
Absolutely. And so, we're obviously advocating for client portal usage, but, your need is going to vary. So I just want to talk a little bit about some things to consider when you're actually selecting your client portal. So, one of the challenges that is associated with selecting your portal solution is the way that the portal actually fits into the goals of your practice, because no two practices are exactly the same. And everybody has a little bit different needs. So, in addition to addressing the needs of your clients, the features of your portal solution should also assist you in accomplishing your goals. So I'm just going to kind of run down a checklist that we like to share for client portals, just some things to be looking for when you are looking to add a client portal to your practice. So your client portal should be user-friendly. So if it's not, the process could be really difficult and cumbersome for the client. And that in turn is going to be more cumbersome and time consuming for you because you're going to have to spend more time walking your client through it. You also want to make sure that the client portal is secure and communications are encrypted, like we talked about, to minimize liability for confidentiality breaches. And then client portals that offer document automation or integrate with your existing document automation software save a whole lot of time. So that's a really important feature to look for most practices. And you're also going to want to consider software that allows you to create invoices and gives you access to merchant services providers so that your clients can make payments online. You need to have that kind of flexibility to create those invoices, even multiple payment plan schedules, working within various billing structures. With it really improves efficiency, and clients really expect to be able to pay online. Your portal should also provide for messaging and other communication access so that your client has that ability to comment either whether they're collaborating on documents with you or they need to contact you about something. You need to have a way for them to access you. And you can put all sorts of parameters on that. So when I say that, don't think, they're going to have access to me unlimited. They won't. And the portal should also allow both you and your client to upload documents and exchange information. There should be a way for you to conduct conflict checks throughout your database of clients and cases, whether that's just adding them, not necessarily as, a client or, direct party, but even somebody associated. So most of the law practice management systems that have client portals allow you the ability to do that. And it's also beneficial to have as much in one place as possible as far as your software and technology. So for instance, you have some practice management softwares that integrate with QuickBooks. So when your client goes into the portal and makes a payment, it's very seamless. So it's important to make sure that you kind of evaluate your needs and that your software has features that are going to be important for your practice, whether it's calendaring, keeping track of hearing dates, deadlines, or whatever. And you may actually find that there's one cloud-based client portal. I'm sorry, I have a velociraptor back in the bedroom, also a child. He's super loud, and I've been trying to ignore him. But anyway,
I think it didn't help that I cracked up because I could hear that so clearly.
Cracked up, and I'm like, I'm sorry, there's a velociraptor noise. I have the door shut. He's just really loud. So anyways, you may find one cloud-based portal solution that's going to meet all your needs, but you may have to combine several options. So.
And we've kind of mentioned this a couple of times, but, big thing about client portal, why to use it, but also things that you need to really keep in mind when you're choosing the option that you want is looking at the security standards and, vetting them to make sure that they really are super secure for your sharing of confidential information and your communications with your client. So a client portal, for purposes of this discussion, operates, what we're talking about is operating in an online or cloud environment. And anybody who's adopting a client portal solution really needs to consider whether the software as a service provider, which you'll see that sometimes SaaS, in this environment is operating according to best practices and security standards. So one group, the Legal Cloud Computing Association, has developed a set of standards that may be useful in performing your due diligence examination of that provider for the client portal solution. We can put the link to their standards in the comments below so that you can click and have access to that. But one big rule of thumb is in determining whether a client portal is secure is to figure out and find out if the portal is HIPAA compliant. So that's huge. A portal that's been designed for the HIPAA regime of medical privacy will likely be appropriately secure for use by the legal community. So while we don't categorically condemn the use of free portal services that are used by consumers, we do note that, you get the old adage, you get what you pay for is real. So a free paid service is more likely to have, a fee paid service, not a free paid service. A fee paid service is more likely to have, 24/7 security standards and a quicker response rate if there are problems, along with, just the proper standards in place. That really get what you pay for is a huge thing here. So in the unlikely event that there was ever a problem with information security, which I haven't heard of that being an issue, who knows what the future holds, the law firm would be in a stronger position by having a paid secure portal as opposed to a free service, or again, like we've talked about, using emails and things like that. So let's talk about freestanding portals versus those that are integrated into practice management solutions. Many cloud-based practice management solutions targeting medium to small firms that are cloud-based include a client portal as part of their basic package. This has, really big advantages for the attorney, for the law firm, because it's seamless training. If you're training your attorneys how to use the practice management software in the first place, then might as well add in the client portal solution as part of that training for the staff, or even for yourself if you're learning and you're solo. So it's, practice management software, usually you're going to be in there on a daily basis, and it's, it's seamless because you can jump back and forth to different kinds of things. It also reduces expense because you don't have different fees that you're paying every month for a standalone client portal. You might want to keep in mind that it may make it more challenging to share documents with opposing counsel or individuals not associated with a client file if it's inside of your practice management system. A freestanding portal will likely have more advanced features at this point because their portal has to stand alone in the marketplace, but you wouldn't have those integration factors. So, just keep that in mind. We appreciate you joining us today and listening to the dinosaurs in the background.
The Velociraptor will be at his dad's next week, so we want to
exactly. Although I think it's good comic relief in the times that we're in. So I'd just like to personally say, for both Brooke and I, we appreciate the time that you guys spend with us, and stay safe and stay aware of your feelings and everyone else's feelings around you. Be loving, all that goodness. I've had a lot of anger myself, and I know Brooke has this week too. So, just be real with your emotions. It's okay to feel what you're feeling. And we'll join you next week on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 Central, 11 Mountain, and 10 Pacific for more tech tips and technological tools, because that's kind of our focus this month in June. We may change our minds. We're crazy people with dinosaurs.
I know. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.